I'm gonna premise this video by saying we've been in cosplay all night, we've run out of makeup wipes, and so I look like I haven't slept in days because of the eyeliner.
We're breaking free. Soaring, flying.
So I have recently started the Ancient Magus Bride Season 2, and I think it's about time that I make something known. I love the Ancient Magus Bride. It is one of my favorite anime of all time. Probably like my second favorite anime other than Your Lie in April. And that's something that not a lot of people can say or do say. Why is my phone falling? Thank you to my eternal tech woman Paige for helping me with her ring light. What is the Ancient Magus Bride? If you don't know that answer, I'm here to tell you it. The Ancient Magus Bride is a story about three main characters, maybe four if you count Silver. Anyway, it's about three main characters. Chise, a depressed young girl from Japan who moves to England and is, well, not moves, she's bought by another character named Elias, who is a mysterious bone person, and they start a life together as mage and apprentice. But something weird happens on their first night together in his cute little cottage, which he shares with this cute little elf woman. I guess she's a fairy woman named Silver, or the Silver Lady, or Silky, or whatever you want to call her depending on the fanfiction. In their first night, Chise is in her bedroom, which she has been given by Elias, who is the weird skull man that bought her. And the neighbors, aka fairies, come in through her window and get her to come out into the woods where they are planning to like eat her or something. I don't know, it's unclear. I think it was unclear anyway. It's been a while since I've watched this, okay guys? Elias comes to rescue her and she asks him, what do you want with me? You know, like, I'm nothing, I'm just a depressed little girl. And he's just like, well, I want you to become my apprentice and one day my bride. And she's like, oh, great, I've run into an idiot. And that's how it begins. Actually, she doesn't. She's more like really confused, like, oh wow, this guy could either be really nice, really confused, or a pervert. And turns out he's none of those things. In fact, he is just a demonic 2-year-old who has no idea what the world is, but we'll get to that later. For the record, he also has no idea what the word bride means. He thinks it means friend. We need to address that early on, that in season 2 and in the manga, his master is revealed, and she basically is like, oh, I tried to explain the word bride to him, but he has no idea what it means. He just thinks it's a partner in your life. He basically thinks it means friend. So take that as you will. The series itself is called The Ancient Magus Bride because of that line, oh, I want you to be my bride. And he has a really cool voice. I think his voice actor in English is Brian Matthias, I believe. And he is a really cool guy. I've met him. He probably doesn't remember me, but I've met him. But anyway, Chise goes on to learn how to become a mage. And in this, she acquires a cute little doggy friend, a familiar she names Ruth. And Ruth, he has had a master before that looked a lot like Chise, and he decides that he wants to be her familiar, so it's like a mutual bond. And so that is how she keeps what's called her slay-beggy form, which is basically like someone who's very sensitive to magic and sensitive to like different powers that be. That's how she keeps her slay-beggy form from like basically disintegrating. The familiar keeps her safe, and she keeps the familiar company. So that's how it kind of works, is Ruth and Chise, they're like brother and sister by the end of this. It's really cute. They love each other. They act so much like brother and sister with the bickering, but the genuine love. It's really sweet. Let's talk about some of the other characters, because I love talking about things. And this entire video is just me talking and ranting because no one really in my life other than me watches Ancient Magus Bride, and I really want to talk about it. Another character is Silver. She's a fairy that is now the housekeeper, and she does things such as beat Elias up whenever he does something weird. And by weird, I mean, oh, wait, what do you mean you don't understand basic human interaction? You know when your mom is like really angry at you and is like, I'm disappointed. That's how she does it, but she doesn't actually talk. So she's like, I'm going to instead like show you my love in a very weird way. She's so sweet, though. We all love Silver. And she's always making sure everyone is fed. She thinks that in my opinion, she thinks that if she can feed everyone, they're safe. And that's her way of keeping them safe, because they have very hard jobs and very hard lives and very difficult and dangerous jobs. Other characters include Simon, the priest, who I'm pretty sure is trying to exorcise Elias, but just has not been able to yet. And it's really cute because he keeps coming around to Elias, who, like, once again, we don't know who he is. He's like a demonic 2-year-old. I'll get to what I think he is later. But literally, Simon is just kind of there in his living room, like, I'm pretty sure you're against God, but I'm gonna keep coming back until you're no longer useful to me. Oh, by the way, I think you're my friend. And they have, like, this really weird friend connection by the end of season 2 in a weird way. They just kind of love each other, like friends. And it's really sweet because Elias doesn't really know how to have a friendship other than Chise and sometimes Ruth. That brings me into the analysis of human connection with this. And Elias just wants to be human, and we learned that in season 2. He doesn't really understand what it's like to obtain humanity. He spends most of the series learning what emotion is and how to deal with that emotion. He has different ideas of how emotions feel, like a tickling in his stomach, and he's like, what's that, Chise? Chise is his teacher of human things. And Chise is like, you have the weirdest Eliasisms. That's what she calls them, Eliasisms. And it is genuinely so cute. She just is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But most of the time she's like, you are a weirdo and I love you. And that's another thing. It's like Chise went from like this really depressed girl that was going to unalive herself, in the words of TikTok, and then decided that she was going to, through some like weird guy who I can't remember the name of, coming up to her on a roof and saying, why don't you give your life to someone else, someone who it will be useful to, which is very messed up, I understand. She's sold to Elias, who pays like all this money for her because he's lonely. So, a weird premise, definitely, but what anime doesn't have a weird premise these days? Think about that for a minute, YouTube. Give me one anime that isn't somewhat problematic. I'll wait. But anyway, I've done like a million fandom deep dives into this fandom, and there are amazing people that genuinely just want to look for the humanity in each other. And then there are the other people that are like, oh, well, you are being a terrible human being for liking this. But you know what? I ignore most of these people that are like that because they kind of scare me, and I just really, really, really want to watch it for the idea that we can all get over our worst times. And that's what Chise has taught me, is she is an anxious, depressed girl of, I think, 14 or something like that. 16? I really don't know, and I can't remember. I think she's 16. But anyway, she's a really depressed girl that just, like, her mom left, unalived herself. This is really depressing, I know. But her mom did that and left Chise alone, and she was kind of like thrown around to different family members, and now she has to live with this skeleton guy. And there's this beautiful moment in the first season where she sees her mom in this dreamlike state and says, I'm going to leave you right here, but I'll never forget you. In other words, she's moving on with the knowledge that she is stronger, and that has made her stronger, and that she can go and live without the guilt of that situation. And as someone who has been through a lot of things that just, the guilt kills me every day, that was something that I sobbed over. Like, people need to realize that it is okay to let go of the past, which I still struggle with that, but leave it where, you don't have to let go of the past, but you can leave it where it is, and then continue on with the knowledge that the past made you stronger, but the present is what you should be focused on. There's a big reason why I love Ancient Magus Bride, and that is because it asks the question, are we good people if we decide to stop punishing ourselves? And that is something that I feel I have not learned. Like, I understand that I can be a better person despite what I've done, and like I've not done anything like horrible. I haven't killed a man, but I've hurt people and people have hurt me. And the guilt of that kills me every day. But you have to be able to let go of that, leave it where it is, and then realize I am going to be a better person every day. The other thing is that Elias just really wants to be someone who Chise can be proud of. He doesn't know that yet, but that's what he's aiming for, is he wants to be the best friend and partner and maybe one day husband that he can be. And that's the thing, is he doesn't understand emotion. He doesn't understand human connection. He doesn't understand trauma. And he's learning every day of how to be a better person, whether he be a person or not. Which I believe Elias is a form of chimera, which if you've seen anything like on Fullmetal Alchemist, you kind of know what a chimera is. It's like a Mod Podge slushy type thing of different creatures. I personally think that Elias was a botched experiment of some sort, and he's just kind of here with a conscience. He's just kind of here with a consciousness and a conscience, if that makes sense. So he's trying his best, and we love him. He has a somewhat human body and a skull for a head, and he has many different forms. He has many different forms that he can take on. Well, 2 forms I think that we've seen, including Simon and a random girl that I don't think we've really ever understood who she is. At least not that I can remember. They may have explained it in season 2, but I kind of glanced over season 2 because I was in a really bad headspace at the time. And now I'm rewatching it. Don't get me wrong, but we're getting there. So I bet you're wondering, Katwoman, why did you make this video? And that is because I need someone to talk to about this, and I want to get a conversation started in the comments about what you think about the Ancient Magus Bride, what you want from the Ancient Magus Bride, your theories. Do you want me to make like content surrounding it? What are your thoughts on Elias? What is he? I just think it's a really good series that is good if you want to cry. And I guess in reality, this is kind of a commercial for the show. A really bad commercial, don't get me wrong, but something that I'm really passionate about. And every once in a while, I just want to have this YouTube channel be like a diary. I want people to see the human part of me outside of cosplay, because let's be honest, cosplay is just playing dress up and putting on a new skin. And this is my actual skin, and I have regrets and hopes and dreams outside of cosplay. And the Ancient Magus Bride, with its humanity, really shows a part of me that you wouldn't regularly see in my cosplay unless I would have cosplayed Chise. And then even if I did, he was going to put on a literal dog skull to be Elias. I mean, I've seen people do like 3D print his skull, but that's like a really scary thing, and I don't think my friend Kinsey would appreciate it if I asked her to. So, reasons to watch Ancient Magus Bride. 1, it reveals a lot of humanity in people. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-between. Number 2, it has a lot of potential for future seasons. There are a lot of things we don't know yet. So if you watch seasons 1 and 2 or read the manga, even up to where it is now, there's still probably it's probably not even halfway done. So just know that there's a lot of story yet to be told and a lot of secrets to reveal. And I would say, this is kind of weird, but 3, watch it for the idea that you don't have to be perfect. Because people aren't perfect, and Chise isn't perfect. Elias definitely isn't perfect. I think the most perfect character in the entire show is Ruth, and even he has like a really bad moment. So watch it for the grays of humanity. That's what I say. Because you know that one Harry Potter quote, which I do not condone J.K. Rowling at all, but I watched all the Harry Potter movies when I was little. So you know that quote that Sirius Black says to Harry in The Order of the Phoenix, like, the world isn't separated into good people and Death Eaters? Well, I've kind of carried that. The real world is full of grays. The real world isn't separated into good people and bad people. It's full of people in between. And so that's a really good... Oh, look, there's the dog. there's a dog down the hall. But that's just something to remember, I think. And like, I'm 23, I don't have all the life experience in the world, but I think every day I'm trying to get a little bit wiser, a little bit nicer, a little bit happier, and this helped me a lot in my journey, especially healing from the past events of my life. That's largely due to my village, which is Randy and Paige and my sister and Kenzie and Isaiah and everyone in between and around them, my family. But it's also largely due to what I watch and what I read and what I take in. And the Ancient Magus Bride really healed my inner soul. It's like a fantasy world for a child that I didn't know I still had in me. So thank you to the Ancient Magus Bride. Thank you for watching this haphazard commercial, and let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.